it turns out he's made a decision not to play with Team USA, not to go to the camp and play with them in the World Cup this summer. He wants to focus on the Lakers' upcoming season. What do you think about this decision?
Is LeBron playing?
No.
Ding, 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 ding. We have one singular focus. Try to elongate your season, Anthony, a player that has dealt with some injury history. Mm-hmm. Also, a guy that hasn't had extended years of playing long playoff series. This is probably going to be the most basketball he's played once October to June actually happens. You want to preserve him. You want him to have all of the time and energy he needs to practice and play with LeBron and Kuzma, and understands what his coaching staff and Frank Vogel want to get accomplished. Move to LA if he isn't already there. Settle himself in all aspects of his life so that once the season starts, he can focus solely on trying to win the 17th championship for the Los Angeles Lakers.
I think this is going to become a trend. I think that our World Cup FIBA teams are going to look very different than our Olympic teams. I think every 4 years, the big dogs are going to come out, but during these other little tournaments and these other summers, you're going to see some of that sort of second and third tier stars play.
We should still be able to win with our second and third tier players. I know we had some turbulence with the international players and them doing a really good job of pushing us and or beating us in the past. But again, our pro players should be enough to find a way to win the FIBA World Cup.
So you mentioned him and LeBron sort of working out together. Take us behind the curtain. Like, what does that look like? What are him and LeBron doing in the gym to get ready for this season together?
Anthony doing a lot of listening. LeBron doing a lot of speaking. Anthony doing a lot of catching lobs and setting screens. LeBron dribbling the basketball as the primary ball handler, throwing him those lobs. And I think they're going to be the most lethal pick and roll duo in the league.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got to be pick and roll. It's got to be pick and pop. It's got to be fake the pick and step back. It's got to be getting all of these cues with eye contact, with hand movement that the defense can't necessarily pick up on that's going to give you an opportunity to make a play.
Is Frank Vogel involved in these workouts?
Yes. He's going to be involved in these walkouts because it's got to be his terminology that couples with the success of LeBron James' past terminology and with that of Anthony Davis that made him successful with the Pelicans. You have to implement all of that plus Kyle Kuzma in order to make sure you maximizing what you're trying to get accomplished this year.
Kuzma definitely had like a vacation plan they had to cancel. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, he had a vacation plan. Like, oh, wait, we're LeBron on the last week of July? Okay, yeah, I could be there.
But he's still doing his free basketball camp in Flint, and that's why I'll applaud little bro.
Well, Anthony Davis was officially announced by the Lakers over the weekend, and let's just hear what he had to say about his new roster.
I like our roster. I like, every player that we have, from 1 through 15, or 14, 1 through 14. So I'm excited about it, and, I'll put our roster up against anybody. I feel like that, in a 7-game series that we'll come out victorious.
Okay, I like to keep expectations low, but I also like confidence. What do you think about him saying in a 7-game series, I like our roster against anybody?
Well, that's what you heard. I heard him say that we're going to win it all.
Oh, translation.
Because if nobody's going to beat you in a 7-game series, that only happens in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, that he anticipates, as he should, that his team has a legitimate chance to win it all. Here's what I'll say about the roster. All 14 guys can't play at the same time. Shout to Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka and or the Rambuses, who we slandered their name, not me, but the media, and assassinated their character, but yet they found a way to put together this roster.
I like this roster.
Shout to Clutch Sports and my man Rich Paul, who's going to make sure KCP continues to stay on the team and get a big deal.
2035, he'll still be on the Lakers.
And how about the fact that Boogie went from being the number 1 option with the Kings, the number 2 option with the Pelicans, the number 3 or 4 option with the Warriors.
Coming off the bench in the playoffs.
And now he's going to be possibly a substitute for the Lakers. It just shows you how the league comes at you real fast. And it's going to also show you how a player like him can now invest in himself. Mm-hmm. If Boogie was a stock, I would buy low. This is your chance to buy DeMarcus Cousins, okay? Because even though JaVale McGee is probably going to be the starter based on the fact that he's probably faster changing ends of the floor, has the ability to block shots and catch lobs, and probably is going to shape the geometry of the floor better for LeBron James in particular, who needs either lob catchers, defenders, and or shooters around him. Boogie's going to now come in with the second unit. He's going to be punishing them dudes. With the Rajon Rondo, not only did they both go to Kentucky, even though they didn't play together, they have that kinship. They played together with the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Okay. Avery Bradley. He doesn't seem to have been the same player since he left Boston.
No.
Went to Detroit, went to the Clippers, and bounced around a little bit. But you know I'm a fan of his.
You've always been a fan of his.
Okay. I'm a fan of anybody that fights through screens.
I like Quinn Cook, too.
Okay. I like Quinn Cook, who found a way from a two-way contract to play minutes with the Warriors, win a championship or two. And so they have a lot of guys who, A, are going to be able to play together, but B, still have something to prove. And I like that dynamic of putting together a team versus last year when we saw the dynamics of that roster, people were like, what are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
They got Beasley, you got Lance, you got, like, what's happening with the roster? And so I agree with AD that they do have one of the top rosters in the game, but I disagree with the fact that they're going to win it all based on that dynamic this year.
There's going to be a lot of basketball to be played before next year's playoffs. And you know, like you said, there's players on that team that do have something to prove. And
shout to the Lakers and their fans. They're back legitimized as a team that hasn't made the playoffs in the last 5 or 6 years to being a legit contender.
Championship expectations.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For highlights and analysis, check out the ESPN app. And for live streaming and premium content, check out ESPN+.